Tom, do you think that animals are self aware? Do they suffer? Do they love? Do they fear? Do they have hope? Can they understand the world that they live in? And do they and should they have similar or equal rights to humans? What do you think?
Jake. Um, there are a lot of questions there, so I'll go through them one by one. Are animals self aware? The answer is some animals are self aware. The more intelligent ones are, and there are some experiments that you can do to prove that. We talked about some of them on the podcast episode. I think it was episode 17. A more bog standard example is a puppy in front of a mirror. It gets very excited because it thinks it's another puppy, whereas a dog, a bit older, realizes that it's just its reflection. Um, do they suffer? I think that we should be concerned about animals' ability to suffer. So, for example, humans are actually animals, so I think that we should be more concerned with human suffering than we are, say, a cow or a pig. And a cow or a pig has the ability to suffer more than a chicken, and a chicken has more of an ability to suffer than an insect. And I don't think insects have any ability to suffer. Do they love? We'd have to define the terms on that one because I think it's quite a difficult one to define, love. But I think that some animals can love their young, whereas I don't think that they have loving relationships in the way that humans do. They certainly fear, because if you have a look at online or whatever on YouTube, you'll find there are lots of abuse stories of dogs where they sort of rehabilitate them, but they have all the symptoms of living in fear, and if you go near them, they like flinch because they're in fear of being abused. Do they have hope? I think in a very small way, some intelligent animals can have hope about certain things, but it would be quite trivial, like, will I get a special treat today? That kind of hope. I think that they can understand a small part of the world that they live in. So, an example of that is some animals can unlock doors, for example, in order to get from one place to another, and sometimes that's quite complex tasks. Um, should they have similar rights to humans? I think that they should have more rights than they currently do because you can pretty much treat them like products, which they're not. But they shouldn't have similar rights or the same rights to humans because they don't have agency. So if a Rottweiler does something terrible to a child, you can't hold it accountable because really it doesn't have a sense of right or wrong. So yes, hope that answers your questions.